Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Broadacres Marketplace. Well, that's a longtime swap meet, and it's a hub of local Hispanic life in North Las Vegas, but it abruptly shuttered in June in the wake of ICE raids and inquiries at similar venues in California. But now the massive marketplace is slated to reopen this weekend. So what's going on? Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we talk with the artist Justin Favela and Nevada Current reporter Jennifer Solis, both born and raised Las Vegans, and they give us the ins and outs of what's happening on the ground and in the booths at Broadacres. It's Wednesday, July 30th. I'm David Figler, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Justin, Jennifer, for any of our listeners who haven't been to Broadacres before, how would you describe it? Help me understand the sights and the tastes and the sounds of the place.
Yeah, I mean, Broadacres has been around since the late 70s, I believe. I remember going there as a kid, an 80s kid, and it's a flea market. It's a pulga, it's a swap meet. It's called different things, different cultures. And yeah, it's a place where people can start businesses, basically a big parking lot. And it has expanded over the years. And there's basically tents with vendors in them, and also now a whole food court, bandstand. If you go Friday nights, there's live music. It's like a bailes, a dance, which is amazing. So it became, a pop-up kind of shop, and eventually became a cultural hub and a place to take your family or to go have fun.
For me, it's one of my favorite places in the world. Like, I have so many fond memories of Broadacres as a child. One of the first things I do when I go there is I walk through all the booths, all the way to the food court, and I go get Mexican street corn because they use a specific corn, flour corn, which is different than the sweet corn that you typically get in grocery stores. And it has to be that corn to be done right. And that's one of the few places that sells it just like that.
Yeah. So how big a crowd is there? I mean, how many vendors are we talking about? Like, give me a sense of the size of this thing.
It's got hundreds of vendors and thousands of people who work there throughout the weekend. It's typically open Friday through Sunday, Friday night and Saturday morning and Sunday morning. And it can attract a crowd over those 3 days of about 15,000 customers. It's huge. It's the largest open flea market in all of Nevada.
Oh, wow. So what are some of the businesses that people might be interested in knowing operate out of there or have been for a while?
And I think there's a lot of people selling produce, and that's what I think was most important for my family, because I'm Mexican and Guatemalan, and Guatemalans use like banana leaves, for example, or coconut. And back in the 90s, early 90s, 80s, you couldn't even find that kind of stuff at the grocery store to like make Guatemalan tamales. So these vendors were the ones that carried a lot of those ingredients and a lot of the like nostalgic, snacks from back home. And so you have a lot of vendors selling a lot of really amazing kind of novelty food, or just, standard like street food. And then there's people selling everything from like home goods to clothes to tools, washing machines, like you name it.
So real flea market. Like
it's a real flea market.
Yeah. Jennifer, do we have like a good estimate of what percentage of regular vendors might be at risk of things like deportation?
Sorry, no, I don't have firm numbers on that. It's really hard to adjust for how many of those vendors are documented or undocumented. Not quite clear. Yeah, but it's not just undocumented vendors that are having fear from these ongoing ICE raids. I mean, it's the customers. A lot of these customers who go, even if they're not undocumented, have heard really terrible stories of places getting raided and people getting profiled. And there's been even less foot traffic at Broadacres because of this fear.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, Broadacres did close abruptly in June because of a lot of what you're saying, Jennifer. And uh, a lot of the vendors did tell you that it was very sudden. What do you know about the ownership of Broadacres? And was the closure made in consultation with any of the vendors in a way looking out for them, or did it come from some other place or motivation?
So, what we know about the owners is that it is owned by Newport Diversified Inc. It's a company that also owns swap meets in California. And it's
Hmm.
the company that also owned a swap meet in California called the Santa Fe Springs swap meet that was raided a week before Broadacres closed down. Vendors that I spoke to said they went in Saturday morning to open their shops and were told by text that they were to leave by 9 a.m. that morning. So it was really
Oh,
sudden, and there wasn't a lot of consultation from any of the vendors that I spoke with, which is why they were so taken aback by suddenly being deprived of income.
yeah. Well, Justin, why do you think that this closing and now the possible reopening of Broadacres has become such a flashpoint locally?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show like how important the Latino community is to the economy. Because there was just hundreds of vendors there that were vital, and just this closure of this flea market put thousands and thousands of people out of work. And so and it also I'm sure people were affected that maybe did have to go shopping at Broadacres because there's not a grocery store by their house or whatever. So I was really shocked that they gave them no warning. I live on the border of North Las Vegas and Las Vegas, and a lot of my neighbors are actual vendors at
Oh,
Broadacres, and so it
hmm.
really affected our neighborhood. I mean, we all kind of uh, we all have to survive. So a lot of my neighbors just started doing pop-ups in their front yard and doing TikTok videos to try to still sell their goods,
Oh, wow.
through
Yeah.
Facebook and things like that. So I saw it firsthand affect real families that need to pay their rent, right? And so I was really shocked when Broadacres did that, and I understand it was to protect the community, but they could have also protected them in a different way and not close the swap meet. It is like private property, right? So they could, protect their vendors a little better, but they did what they did because they thought that was necessary, and I'm glad it's going to reopen.
Yeah. Jennifer, what do you think all this says about the mood in the community right now? I mean, how maybe even does it fit into the larger conversations that you might be hearing about how ICE is going about these tactics and the deportation policies of the Trump administration are at this moment in time in the US?
Well, it's really hard for the Latino community. Even before Broadacres closed down abruptly, the weekend after those ICE raids at the California swap meet, foot traffic was dismal, a fraction of what you usually see on Friday nights. There was no
Hmm.
band playing, which they typically have every Friday, because no one was coming. They had discounted the entry price to go into Broadacres because of that low foot traffic, even the weekend before it closed. So that was already a sign that people were afraid to go out to a place that might be targeted because
Oh,
everyone
wow.
knows it's a huge immigrant and Latino hub.
Yeah, I actually went to Broadacres on that Friday before it closed, not just thinking, okay, well, they're not going to get me. I have the privilege of going there and not being scared. So I'm going to go try to support as many vendors as I can because I was watching the TikToks of just like it was a ghost town at Broadacres, and I went, and yeah, it was like a quarter of the vendors were out, and then maybe a little over a quarter, and yeah, no, we were waiting for the band. We're like, there's got to be a band. The band didn't show up, and so there was kind of this eerie mood at the swap meet. Like we all kind of felt something coming, and then the next day we woke up to the news that it was closed down that day.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
As a sports fan, I have to confess. Sometimes the game gets kind of boring. That's when I unfold my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 and use multi-window viewing on its large screen. Boring game? I'm checking out my fantasy baseball league at the same time. Score still 1-0? I'm replying to emails in the other window, scoring points with the boss. Semifinals finally getting exciting? I'm buying tickets to the finals and booking my flights. Can your phone do that?
The new Galaxy Z Fold 7. Get yours at Samsung.com.
I think the obvious question is now, with all the downtime, do folks who are, undocumented or who, fear whatever might happen, whether they, are here legally or not, are not going to show up now at Broadacres for the reopening, and life goes on, or is there more to it?
It's hard to say. News coming out of California and how the Santa Fe market has recovered shows that the foot traffic is lower than what it was before. And as we saw in Broadacres, the foot traffic was lower even before it closed down without any raids. So it's hard to say how long it'll take to recover, if people will come back in mass once it opens August 1st. I'm sure lots of people want to go to show support and to help the vendors earn the money that they did before all of this happened. But people have to think about their own families and what a risk it is to go. So it's hard to say.
Well, Justin, you've got that little activist streak in you. I know you for a long time. Do you think that it's better to show up in force and numbers to shop at a reopened Broadacres to support the community that is there? Or do you think that people should figure out ways to vocally stay away in solidarity with those people who can't be there?
I think the people that can be there need to show up, and we need to show up in mass to let them know that we're not scared and that we're a strong community. Because it's all it is, too, is, this, of course, yes, ICE is very scary and being detained is very scary. And, but also, they're not showing you all the videos of people actually resisting ICE and helping each other. That kind of gets lost in the media sometimes. And so, I understand. I have family that's in the process of getting their citizenship, and some undocumented family, and it's scary. There's no way they can travel back to Mexico or Guatemala right now, and going to the swap meet is a risk. But if we stick together and help out our community, I think we'll show them that we're stronger than they think. They're really trying to scare us right now, and I know it's a scary time, but of course we will overcome. We have to.
See, there you go. So now you've inspired me to show up and eat my weight in flour corn.
Yes.
Which is not going to make that much of a dent. I'm a little guy, but I will do my best. I haven't been to Broadacre since I was very young. And I do remember it just being kind of, I don't know, otherworldly in a lot of ways for me and my experience. It's always a pleasure to be able to be welcome into cultures other than your own and enjoy the food and the sights and the sounds, et cetera. And I wonder, what do you both think is possibly the worst case and the best case scenarios looking forward as Broadacres reopens? What do you think, Jennifer?
Best case scenario, it pulls in people who hadn't thought of it in like 20 years, like you. People remember it again and think, well, I can go support because I have the ability to go without fearing a raid. And you really should go. It's much different than it was from even when I was young. It keeps up with the times. I remember when I was a kid, they didn't have like anime shops, but now they do because it's so popular. So there's a lot of offerings of all kinds. They sell secondhand clothing. They sell used washer machines. They sell construction gear, anime figures, everything you can think of. Games like, secondhand consoles and console games. In fact, yeah, the bike that I currently have now, I bought at like swap meet a year ago. So there's just, you can get anything you can think of there.
And worst case scenario, y'all?
Worst case scenario, ugh, I don't even want to think of it.
I mean, I have a feeling if it's not as popular as it was before, there will be a downsize. But I mean, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll remain open for the people that you know have the means to keep going. Gosh, it's hard to say. Yeah, I think you're right, Jennifer. I'm not sure. And also another thing is like I travel a lot across the U.S. and I've been doing that, the last couple months, and the malls are also empty. It's like people aren't really shopping as much nowadays. There's all these stories about the strip as well right now. So
Yeah, people are being less public facing. Yeah.
yeah, all over the place, and people, aren't shopping till they're dropping anymore. So,
Yeah.
it's going to be a combining factor of all that.
Yeah. We had an expert in immigration on the podcast recently, and I asked him, what can just citizens do who want to help out? And, the first thing he said is like, if there is, law enforcement or ICE activity around you and it doesn't seem right, don't touch anyone, don't get in the way, but you have the right to document it, to make sure that it is being, recorded or memorialized. You can let your voice be known, just don't get in the way. It's probably good advice if people are there and something really, really bad goes down. But I mean, the erosion of public life is part of this bigger picture. And I just wonder, in closing, why does Broadacres matter to Las Vegas from your personal perspective?
Like I said, it's one of my favorite places in the world. It's where I go with my family to just enjoy a meal and do some shopping at least once a month. It would be like losing a part of what holds me and my family together, our culture and our community.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, it's iconic. It's just a shame because it was one of the safe spaces, that a lot of Latinos went to because it reminded them of home. And you just like understand this kind of like mercado merchant culture, and it really was a place where you felt great about just kind of spending your money because it was going right back to your own community. And so I think that's what's important, is like us helping each other out. It's like very apparent at Broadacres.
Based on the conversation I've just had with both of you, I'm sad that no one's ever done a documentary or an oral history of all the vendors and the visitors to Broadacres. I want to remind listeners that the Broadacres swap meet is reopening on August 1st. Jennifer and Justin, I'll give you last word on a shout out. Something that we haven't mentioned yet. Okay. What's one thing that if someone goes there, they should go look for? To order, to eat, maybe? Besides the flour corn.
My favorite thing is actually the first Asian food I've ever eaten was at that swap meet when I was like
What?
5. It was there is this, oh gosh, I forgot what the name of the stand is, but there's this very nice Asian family that owns one of the OG booths, like at the northeast corner near the restrooms at Broadacres, and they make these chicken teriyaki sticks that
Yeah.
are so good. So they're just lined up on a stick waiting for you to buy them. And you just like pick it up, you get a drink, and you're just, oh, it's the best. I recommend the chicken teriyaki sticks from the Pan Asian stand at Broadacres.
How about it, Jennifer? Got a shout out to one of the vendors.
See, I'm just basic. That corn stand at the north
Back
end,
to the corn. Yeah.
one of the OG stands, as Justin said, and they sell a product that's really hard to find in like American supermarkets. I go every time. I love it.
Well, Jennifer and Justin, I really appreciate you sharing your insights and also your reporting, Jennifer, on this important topic for our community. Thanks for joining us on CityCast Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And that's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, go tell a friend. You could also rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. This show is supported by CityCast Las Vegas Neighbors. Neighbors means so much. That's our membership program. Neighbors in CityCast get perks like shout-outs to their favorite local businesses on air. Hey, you could even shout out your favorite Broadacres vendor, as well as invites to exclusive special events and meetups. We just did one recently at the Las Vegas Distillery, tasting and toasts. A lot of fun. So learn more about becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Till then, stay lucky.